Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. First of all, congratulations to President Biden, who is getting inaugurated today. Unless something drastically goes wrong, he will be inaugurated today. I don't know. I'm filming this on the 11th, so I actually have no idea if anything bad's going to happen in the next week. I assume something will, but I'm hoping that Biden will be inaugurated on the 20th, which is today, so congratulations to President Biden. But today, along with that, is another special day. We are going to be continuing our MCU series, which is a very long series, but I'm excited to talk about this one. I just actually finished watching Season 2 of this relatively recently, and I'm excited to talk about Season 1. It's been a while since I watched it. It's been a couple months, so I did watch a recap to make sure that everything I'm giving to you is correct. But today, we are going to be talking about Luke Cage, Season 1. Luke Cage Season 1 was released on Netflix on 2016. It is still available on Netflix, and it is technically not MCU canon. I am including these in my MCU series, mainly because I truly believe they are canon. It hasn't been officially announced yet, but we are assuming that we're going to see these characters again in the actual MCU in maybe a movie form or a Disney Plus series. I'm assuming that that will happen. If I am wrong, I will be sad, but it is technically in my world still 100% canon. Obviously, they don't interact with characters, so regardless, it doesn't really matter. We know the X-Men isn't canon, we know all that kind of stuff, but this is still kind of iffy, at least as where we are now. I'm going to consider it canon. But we last saw Luke Cage. I'm going to give a brief overview of the show. It's probably not going to be very brief because it's a very long show. It's 13 hours long. But where we last left off with Luke Cage, we saw him in Jessica Jones. We saw him for a few episodes where he owned a bar, and he was fantastic. I loved it a lot. Then his bar kind of gets destroyed, and then I guess he moves to Harlem, because in Jessica Jones, I'm pretty sure it's not set in Harlem. I think it's still Hell's Kitchen. I'm not entirely sure, though. It doesn't really explicitly say where Jessica Jones takes place, but I'm pretty sure, I'm 100% confident it's not Harlem. So we know that Luke Cage used to own a bar in what I assume is Hell's Kitchen, and then moves to Harlem just because. We don't really know for sure why. But he works at Pop's Barbershop, which is a friend of his, and he sweeps the floors. That's literally his only job. And he also works at Harlem's Paradise as a dishwasher because he needs to pay rent, and he lives above a Chinese restaurant. We know that Colonel Cottonmouth Stokes owns Harlem's Paradise, and he's like a big crime boss. He's like the second leader, like just below like other people. But he's like a second-tier crime operative. And we know that Shades works for Diamondback, who is on top of Cottonmouth. So in the order of, like, importance, it is Diamondback, who controls Cottonmouth, who controls Shades. It's a little complicated, especially at the beginning of the series. I'm going to talk about, like, my thoughts as I progress. I think the beginning of the series was really rough. It was really, really rough. I don't think they knew where they were going with it. By the end of the series, they really picked up where they were going and why they were going there, because Season 2 was way more conjoined as one big unit. Season 1 of Luke Cage felt like two separate seasons for me, and the first half of the season was just really, really weird, and I think they tried to do something where like they had a lot of really bad villains, and it just did not work out for them at all. I did not particularly enjoy this season. But we'll get there. So, while working out a deal to save a kid, Pops gets shot. So they're working on this kid who basically got this money from an arms deal that didn't actually go down the way it was supposed to. So Cottonmouth is, mad, but Cottonmouth and Pops are tight. So Cottonmouth is like, yo, I got you, we can save the kid, I just want my money. So they arrange to give the money to him, but then, other people find out about this, and they personally go to kill the kid. So they go to kill the kid, but Luke stands in front of him and, like, blocks him. He's bulletproof, in case you didn't know. And Pops gets shot, and Pop dies. And then, of course, at that point, Cottonmouth is pissed because Cottonmouth explicitly said that it was going to be a peaceful deal, and then he kills the person that killed Pops. So I guess it's sort of equal, but Pops is a nice guy, so it felt weird. We learn about Seagate at this one part where I forget who it was. I'm pretty sure it's Cottonmouth who shoots the Chinese restaurant where Luke is sitting, and basically destroys the entire shop. And Luke is stuck underneath a pile of rubble. Sorry, my shorts are like uncomfortable. They shoot the Chinese restaurant, and the Chinese girl that runs the place and Luke are stuck in a pile of rubbish. And at this point, we've learned about his background, which is really cool. One of my favorite backstory episodes. In almost every season of every show, we get a backstory episode. This episode felt really, really good. I really enjoyed it. And we learn essentially that he was in Seagate for I think it was a murder that he did not actually do. He was innocent, but he was sent there anyway. And there at Seagate, he gets involved in a fight club because they learn that he is strong. And at this point, he doesn't have his powers. And then at this point, he wants to get out of the club, so he's trying to get out, but then they learn Shades, who is there. Shades went to prison with him for some reason. Really, really odd circumstances. And then Shades beats him up pretty much, basically to an inch of his life. And then Seagate's weird, so they're trying to, like, rejuvenate him. So they put him in, like, this healing thing. But then the bad guys come in like, no, you must die, and like crank it up all the way. And basically, they made it worse for Luke by making him bulletproof. And then he literally punches his way out of jail and moves to New York City. And at this point, he changed his name. His name originally was Carl Lucas. Now it's Luke Cage. Fun fact, Nicolas Cage's last name is Cage. It's not his real last name. He named it. He chose his last name to be Cage because he liked the comics of Luke Cage. But anyway, still, fun fact. Where were we? Okay, so Shades remembers Luke. He recognizes Luke from prison, and then he shows Cottonmouth the Judas bullet, which is a bullet that can actually penetrate the bulletproof skin and explode, essentially, which is really bad for Luke, but he doesn't know about it. Mariah gets mad at Cottonmouth and kills him. They had like a little dispute over like family issues when they were younger. Mariah is just a person, she's like a councilwoman, and she is I think she's sisters or cousins. I think it's cousins with Cottonmouth. So she kills Cottonmouth and then basically takes over Harlem's Paradise, which is good because it leads us to season 2. But that's really kind of sort of the most part of Mariah in this series. In this season is just killing Cottonmouth, which is unfortunate because she's fantastic. And in season 2 we get a lot more of her, which is great. We need more of her. Diamondback shoots Luke with a Judas bullet. So this is the first time we see Diamondback. He's there and he just shoots him with a bullet. And of course he's hurt. He's very hurt. He gets away. And he finds Claire. He learns that Diamondback and Luke are actually brothers. They learn that they're brothers. They are actual brothers. They grew up like brothers, but they didn't actually know they were actually brothers because his father slept with another woman. But they are half-brothers. And Luke goes to Claire. They need to find the doctor that originally gave him the bulletproof skin. The idea would be that they're going to make him unbulletproof to receive the bullet, because the bullet's still inside of him, but they can't penetrate the skin to cut it out. So they have to make it unbulletproof to cut him open, take the blood out, and then make him bulletproof again. So they do that, and the doctor's like, you're not going to like this, and puts him in an acid bath, and he boils it, and it's super hot, and essentially it loosens the skin cells enough, moves them apart, and then they're able to get the bullet out and then makes them bulletproof again. It's at this point we see more of a romance between Claire and Luke, which is good. It sets up season 2 as well. For those of you who don't remember Claire, she's in like every season of every show in the MCU, which is really, really great. I really enjoyed Claire Temple a lot. Diamondback pretends to be Luke and does a lot of bad things like fighting cops, and then shows it to reporters, and then everyone then thinks that Luke is a bad guy, and then Mariah is selling the police Judas bullets to stop him. So it's like a big propaganda ploy that was honestly quite well done ideally, but it didn't work out quite as well as I think they wanted it to in the show. It didn't make full sense, but I understood what they were trying to do. Diamondback and Luke finally get a final battle in. Diamondback gets in this like weird, like robotic looking crappy suit that makes him bulletproof and has like super strong. He's basically Luke Cage, which we always have that like person who looks and acts exactly like the villain and the hero. It's really annoying, but I understand it. And it went well. Luke wins the fight, but Seagate recognizes him and brings him back to jail. Luke goes willingly because he wants to serve out the rest of the sentence and therefore finally be innocent for the rest of his life. And that is the end of Luke Cage Season 1. Let's talk about acting real quick. I know it's already getting long. I'm going to try to do this in under 5 minutes, and we'll wrap it up. First of all, Mike Coulter as Luke Cage. Fantastic. He was really great in Jessica Jones Season 1 as well. I really enjoyed him here. I think he's just got a really sweet, ness to him, where he can be kind of really nice and gentle. He seems like a giant, but he's super gentle and nice, but then he can kick ass when he has to. It's really fun to see that kind of switch. Overall, Mike Coulter is really great. I hope to see him in something else in the future, because I don't know if it's just he's really good at being Luke Cage or he's a really good actor. I haven't figured that out yet, but I think he's a really good actor. He's really solid. Simone Missick as Misty Knight. So I didn't actually mention Misty in here because she's not as big of a deal as she will be later, but she plays Misty Knight, Detective Misty Knight, and they form a bond between Luke and Misty. They become really good friends, and Misty's just trying to take down the Stokes, Mariah Stokes and Cottonmouth and all that. But all the evidence keeps getting swept underneath the rug from her, so it's really annoying. And it brings us to Season 2, really, which is really nice. A lot of this is just a previous Season 2, which is way better. So, Misty Knight's great, though. I enjoyed Simone Missick a lot. Even more so, I think, in the second season. Theo Rossi as Shades, which, again, another character I didn't particularly enjoy, necessarily, in this season, but is really good in Season 2. They didn't focus on him very much, which I think was their big problem, is they had kind of sort of crappy villains. They weren't really bad villains, they just weren't very good. They weren't very well-rounded, especially considering they killed off Cottonmouth in episode 3. So it felt like, what was the point of watching that? But we see Shades and Mariah Dillard a lot in the next season, and Mariah Dillard is played by Alfre Woodard, who is fantastic. She's really, really good in this one because she's more nice than she is in the second season. In the second season, she gets more fierce. The first season, it's more about her being gentle and kind of easing into crime, which we didn't really want to have happen, but it did, and she's there, and that's how it happened. Rosario Dawson as Claire Temple. Again, phenomenal job as Claire Temple. I just finished watching Iron Fist Season 2 a couple days ago, and she's also in that. No, she's not in Iron Fist Season 2. She's in Luke Cage Season 2, but she's not in Iron Fist. Misty is in Iron Fist Season 2. But Claire Temple, for some reason, I think, this might be her last thing, would be Iron Fist Season 2. I think it might be her last performance as Claire Temple. I don't know for sure yet, because I haven't seen Daredevil Season 3 or Jessica Jones Season 3, so I don't know for sure. But I think it might be. But Claire Temple's great in this season in particular, especially now that she's got a full-on love interest, because she's always had this weird romantic relationship with all of her people that she's been with over the past few seasons of shows, but this one feels more real and does bring us more into Season 2. Again, Season 2 is really much better. This one's just really a preview for that. Eric LeRae Harvey as Diamondback. I didn't really like his performance almost at all. Diamondback felt lazy, and it felt like they were we need another villain, what are we going to do? Oh, Diamondback's fine. It just didn't feel very good. And his performance might not have been his fault, it might have been the writing, but I had to put a little bit on him. He just felt lazy and didn't feel very strong. In Season 2, we have better villains who feel more strong and have better backstories than Diamondback. And finally, Mahershala Ali as Cottonmouth. Really good performance. I enjoyed Cottonmouth a lot. I wish we had more. But instead, they took him away from us, and we had Diamondback instead. I think if we focused on Cottonmouth a lot more, it would have been better. Whew, that was a lot of talking. I talked about the acting, and I talked about the whole plot, and what I thought about it as I went along. So as you all can see, I think this is a fair rating. I'm going to give it a B-. Overall, Luke Cage Season 1 is okay. Luke Cage Season 2 is way better. I'm very excited to talk about that one, but that won't be for... It's not in February, so it's going to be probably in March. March or April. But yeah, I really enjoyed watching this one, as I enjoy watching all the MCU movies and shows. But overall, really solid, and I think I give it a fair rating. That's really going to do it for me today. Again, we got some more reviews coming out this week. We got tomorrow and we got Friday coming out. On Friday, do expect probably I'm going to most likely release a couple videos again. Every Friday might have a couple videos depending on if I watch WandaVision that day or if I watch it Saturday. My goal is to watch WandaVision every morning right when I wake up, but I also have a job and I'm eventually going to have school. So it is going to be more difficult to do that, but I'm going to try. But yeah, that's really that's all I got for you guys today. As always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see everyone in the next video. Have a great day, everyone.